Hey folks, Jonathan here. I guess next on this truck, I'll go ahead and get started on putting the pedals in. And what I done was unbolted the firewall. This is actually the inside, and that was the outside of the Ford firewall. And we can actually put that up there. And what I'll do is I'm going to go to the inside and figure out where the pedals would be best. And then I'll drill a couple of the holes, which will be probably the top master cylinder holes. And then once I get them drilled from our mount, from this section, and be able to mark them and drill 2 holes, I can come out here and put this exactly where we need it. And then we'll use this as a template to go ahead and get our holes. And we won't need to reinforce it, and we won't need to actually weld this panel in, because this is our reinforcement. And we're going to run this back, and we may have to do some little changes and stuff, but we'll get it mounted up where the top of the steering column mounts in, just like the one that's in it, just like the original. And basically it goes down the middle, and then you've got this pedal that swings on one side of the steering column, and this one that swings on the other. And we'll just have to go ahead and make the pedal and finish it up, and we'll get it all together. And like I said, that's for the clutch. That's where when they changed it to an automatic, they took it out. So we will we're going to get our 3-speed shifter stuff off our steering column. We don't need to leave it on. And just going to go to clearing some stuff out. We're going to take the emergency brake loose and off. And I doubt I'm going to be able to fit that back on there, so we'll have to do some changing there. But we can get her figured out. Okay, folks, here's where we stand right now. I've got everything cleaned off and taking the bolts out of here. Now, this is tack welded on, so we'll have to do some cutting to get it out. This is the original brace. It just comes up to the bottom, and it actually mounts where this mounts, but it's not moving. There was only 2 bolts in the bottom, so I knew it was tacked up higher. We may leave part of it in, maybe at the top, and see what we can do. But here's our issue with this. Our pedal setup, of course, came out of that Ford, the 59 Ford. The distance between the floorboard and the bottom of the dash on this truck is 3 inches higher than that truck, and same way with the top of the dash is 3 inches taller. So basically our floor is 3 inches lower. So if we put our pedals in, they're going to be 3 inches higher if we put them back where they were with the truck according to the firewall. So we're going to have to lower them down. My only issue there is I don't really want a bunch of mechanical pedals hanging down where you can see here. The other thing we can do is raise them up and add 3 inches to the pedals. Now that's going to give us a mechanical advantage, and we're not running brake booster, and we're not running, of course the clutch is not running anything either. So I mean, it would be good in a way, but I don't know that I want to do that. I think what I'm going to do is get this out of here, and then I'll get this assembly up inside of there and just play around with it a little bit and just see where the pedals are at. I mean, you can see these are pretty high off the floor, and matter of fact, I bet they're every bit of 8-9 inches off the floor, straight from the bottom of the floor up. And so I'm not sure exactly where we're going to end up at. I got a mess in here, but let me check this and we'll see how far they are from the floor here. To the bottom of it, anyway. Yeah, 8 inches. So I mean, that's actually pretty high, but I mean, I still don't think I can get these to hang down to the same place that these are and not have a bunch of mechanical parts sticking out down here where you can see them real bad. And I mean, we can build a little cover for it or something like that, try to make it look good if we have to, but we'll play with it a little bit and see what we come up with. But we'll go ahead and get this piece out, and that's just, like I said, a support. There was no brake pedals up there on this one, so it's all it is a support from your dash down, and then it supports the bottom of the top of your column, ties it all in together. So we will go ahead and get that out. I'm going to stick these up in there and just see what it looks like, and where we can get them pedals at. But I guess we'll sort of play with that of being 8 inches off the floor would be probably best, and to the bottom of the pedal. and we'll go from there. All right, show you more. Okay, folks. Hopefully you can see up in here, but I've got it. I've got them stuck up in. Actually, I was real surprised the length, how they work out. You know, they actually lays right on top for the mount. You know, under the dash, so that worked out really good. Having them where they're at now, which is going to be a really easy mount, and it's not going to be hanging down where you can see. That puts me about, I think, about 9 inches from the floor, so that's an inch higher than what I really want. Yeah, we're right at about almost 9 inches, but I can actually, to get an inch, I can, you know, change the pad on the pedal. There's a lot of things I could do, but I don't see that as being a problem. And you know, I do have some pretty big feet, so it's not going to affect me really much anyway. But you know, somebody with smaller feet, it might. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make the other one the same, and then if we're going to change the pad out different or make it taller or something, we can do that on it. But that's going to fit just fine. I went ahead and cut out our pattern, or not our pattern, but well, it is a pattern now, I guess. I cut this out to make it easier to get our where we need it. I've got a screwdriver stuck through a hole that was already there, and you know, stuck through our paddles so they're not falling. But you know, I'm going to go ahead and get them in there a little better before I do anything. This is just all temporary. But you can see where it's going to be. It's actually a real good location. It's not, you know, close to the engine, but it's not going to hit. It's not too far over this way. You know, so I don't see any issues there. I think it'll work out really good. And you know, we can find we could find a brake booster that would mount to that if we really wanted to do it. You know, a 2-stage master cylinder instead of a single. But you know, I'm probably just going to go back with the 5960 Ford style and just bolt them on. You know, I'm changing engine, but I'm not, you know, changing the disc brake or anything like that. I'm going to keep running everything that's on it. We're just putting it together. We're not trying to make a show truck or racing truck or whatever you want to call it. But I think that's going to work out really good. That'll give me a good pattern for getting my stuff. And we will keep at it. Go ahead and start getting some stuff mounted. I'm probably going to pull these pedals back out. I really need to sandblast them. Quite a bit of rust on them, where that truck sat for years with no windshield. And so I may do that. And still, you know, like I said, I need to make the other pedal. But once we get all the holes where they need to be and such, it's going to bolt up good, and then we'll bolt it up here. You know, the only difference is our piece up here is wider than where these holes are. Now we really got to put these holes back in, or these bolts back in. But we can either re-bolt it or we can re-drill the piece and put them in there, or it really don't matter. But I don't know if you can see it from the top, but yeah, pretty dark in there. But yeah, it stops in a good spot. Comes back perfect. So they actually, you know, they're not a direct bolt in, but well, I guess they will be when I get through drilling some holes. So, you know, there's no major surgery to do on it besides cutting our holes in the firewall. And you know, we've got some ripples here. It's not completely flat, so we'll have to deal with them as we go. And depending on where they run into on the mounting, you know, this one happens to be lined up perfect with the center of the column. So we know that you know, our master cylinder center is not going to be there, and maybe we can, you know, get one on one side and one on the other side, and that'll keep from having to mess with that hump at all. But I think she's going to work out just fine. But I'm going to keep at it here and maybe get these things out, go ahead and make the other pedal, and go ahead and get them sandblasted and cleaned up so it won't keep rusting. Alright. Okay, now we've got 2 bolts in and 2 holes where I want them. So we'll go ahead and drill all these holes, and then we'll mark these, and then we can cut them out. And then everything, you know, should line right up inside. So I can loosen these up, just give me enough distance when I drill these to go through. Now we are going to have one bead running through here, so we'll have to do some changing on that to where it don't catch the corners of my master cylinder. But we'll figure that out as we go. That shouldn't be no problem at all. we might be able to just hammer it in a little bit and get it, you know, smooth to where they'll mount good and solid. But you know, the firewall is not really what's taking up the, you know, for the strength of your where you've got them mounted. You know, the bracket is, and then the bracket goes back to the bottom of the dashboard, and it also connects into the steering column. So you know, it's all working together to make it nice and strong. But we'll get these holes drilled and then go from there. Show you more. Okay folks, I've got all the holes drilled there and they line up pretty good. I don't know if you can see in them or not, but went ahead and drew my my holes I need to cut out for the master cylinders, and I think everything's gonna work out just fine right there. And we'll go ahead and get this plate off and then get them holes done and start getting her mounted. Alright. Okay, we've got some holes here. Still got to do a little cleaning up on them, but they're here. I did them exactly like they were. Not quite sure why they went so big, because you can see how small the piece is, but I mean it fits right in. This one's going to be fine. It'll bolt right up. So we'll get it bolted up, and then we'll probably, because this is old and no good, so I mean I'm just going to use it for testing here, but once we get it bolted up, I think what I'll do is heat a little bit right here. And once I get it heated, I'll take a round punch and actually try to knock it in and get a good flat here, because this one, as you can see, is not going to mount right. It's going to be, I can get you where you can see it here. Yeah, it's going to be kicked out there. So our oil pressure line, our speedometer, and our vacuum line came through this hole. So we can either, you know, we can probably just move it down and over, let it come out somewhere else, and we'll actually, maybe when we're heating, we'll heat this and just bend it up and get it, you know, more of a flat. And we can always weld it up, it's not a problem. But you know, I think we'll weld this hole up, and probably, you know, this one and maybe a few of these small ones that I know is not supposed to be there. Somebody had some screws screwed in, so they different stuff mounted. It looks like from here that the voltage regulator could have been mounted there, and we're not going to run a regulator, so we can do away with that. This wiring we're not using, you know, rewire it. Old truck like this is really easy to wire. I mean, there's nothing really to it. But I think when we're done here, if we do this right, and I get these master cylinder and clutch master cylinder on, I think you're going to look, you know, about like it was, look if it was original. Plus we're going back with an old style. So, you know, it's probably going to confuse some people when they see it, you know, people that know GM and know the older ones, but you know, you can, them things are, what, $23 a piece for, you know, rebuilt. The two we bought and put on the rat rod build, you know, worked just fine, no problems. And so, yeah, I don't see where we'll have any problems with these. And our rods, and there's, you know, rubber boots already in there. We'll get them up and through the holes. But like I said, I've got to take this back out anyway. I want to sandblast them and do our other pedal. But we'll get this problem figured out here, and then we'll keep at it. And let me show you guys we go. Okay, now we are going to heat these up and flatten it out some. We've got our other one on. It went on perfect. It's just barely missing everything, and it's good and tight. Now I've done that because I want it'll keep a good relationship between the firewall and our bracket, because the bracket is hooked together inside, so we won't, you know, knock anything off. So what we're going to do now, as you can see, we've got, this is the side it goes, but it don't matter, they're about the same, but looks like we probably got about 3/16 of an inch on the outside. So we're just going to mark it to where we know it's far enough. Now this hole's oblong because of drilling into it like it is, but we're just going to make sure that we go far enough. And what we're going to do is take the torch and we're going to heat it, and it's probably going to warp up, but then we're going to take a hammer, and then this piece of 1-inch, it's just solid stock, but it's aluminum, but we're going to take it and we're going to put it where we want it, and then we're going to hit it and try to get us a good flat spot there. And we'll just do top and bottom, and the way that's made, you know, it's going to come out and then back in. So we should be able to do top and bottom, and make sure it clears it, and if it don't, you know, we'll do some other work, but I'm sure it's going to clear it. And we'll get that good and flat, and I think we'll do this one the same way. Go ahead and get it knocked up so we can get it on. I think it would just about clear that one anyway, but but it's got to be knocked down and welded up anyway. So, alright, let me get this done and I'll show you. Okay, we've got them over where we need them. As you can see, it just curved them in, but we've still got this rib, so that gives us this, the structural integrity of the firewall. We don't have to worry about it. If it's flattened out, it's not going to be very strong. So we left as much of it as we, possibly could, and it fits up there and fits on there really good and tight. No gap. So we can go ahead and bolt this on temporary. At least to go ahead and get everything else done, but we'll get it bolted on. But this, I bent part of the way, but that's far enough for it to clear, but we'll have to do something with that and weld that hole up. So we'll go ahead and get it bolted on and see what it looks like. Okay folks, we've got them both on, and looks good. Come out really good. They're good and tight on there. Like I said, patch the hole and a few other little holes, and then we can do something for a little bit of paint. I was thinking about checkerboarding the firewall on this, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But if you notice, one master cylinder is higher than the other, and if you look at this plate here, one's higher than the other, and actually the clutch one is higher than the brake. And not sure why they done it, but it really don't matter, because we know that our pedals are the same and everything's going to line up just like it should. But and they look good on there. They look stock and factory, and they're nice and sturdy and tight, so we don't have any problems with that. And so we're going to get back to work on the pedals and move on from there. Alright, more to come. Okay, I went ahead and put our springs down here. Now this is for our pedals to return. I let them come right on back up, no problem. And the reason I didn't pull these out and sandblast them yet is I wanted to go ahead and do the clutch pedal first. So we're going to make it, I've got a piece of, looks like 2-inch wide and 3/8, which is about what that is, 3/8. It's good and heavy. And we're going to go ahead and do a cut on it and try to, we're going to grind that of course, but we're going to try to mimic the cut they already have, so we don't have to try to grind it straight. And being that it's cut at an angle instead of straight, it's actually going to give us more area to weld. And there'll be room on the inside, and well, the outside too, but we can put a little plate over it if we need to make sure it's strong enough. But we're only talking about a hydraulic clutch, but your foot only has so much power, and a good weld will do amazing. You'd be surprised what it would hold. So but we can do a little reinforcing on it. But first thing we're going to do is cut the profile of the pedal out, and as you can see, it gets narrower as it goes down until it gets to about 1 inch, and then it's bent around. So we'll just do the profile first and probably keep most of the back straight. It looks like it curves right here on the back side, but most of this part here is actually straight, and then it looks like this curves in a little bit on this side. So we'll work with it and mark it out, and then we can heat it up and bend it and get it exactly where we want it. And I don't think I'm going to lower it any. I think I'll leave it just like the other one, so it'll look a little better. And should turn out just fine. And we'll try to get them as even as we can anyway. And so we'll get to cutting on that, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get it cut out. Okay folks, we've got this pedal in. It's not exactly like it, but I just did a simple bend there at the end, and as you can see, I've got it welded in, but of course when I take it out I'm going to re-weld everything. I just wanted to get it in place, and I used the original pedal here, and I'm going to cut the other original pedal off and put it there. And what I've done was I actually moved it down a little bit, and when I get ready, when I get them off, I'll actually weld these in really good and make sure they're good and strong. But that puts us right just about 8 1/4. So we're 1/4 inch higher than we was. Now see, this one is still almost 9, but we can change that when we change the pedal. And these are held off of the pedal far enough and welded in the center good, and then I'll brace it in the center and weld it to the arm also. But that leaves it where we can put our original rubber back on. So You know, we can actually run the original Chevrolet rubber on it, and I think that's going to work out really good. The pedal was, this arm was actually stuck, but I've got it where it'll move anyway. But we'll get all that when we take them off. But they are done, and you know, they'll work just fine. And we'll change this one out when we get them off also, and make them, you know, match the best we can, and then paint them up, and you'll never, you know, nobody will ever know it here. But I think we're going to stop it there, and got quite a bit done. You know, at least got all this in and hooked up. You know, got the pedals working, but it won't take long to get them out. When I take them out, I'll weld the holes up, and then go ahead and get the new master cylinder, clutch master cylinder, brake master cylinder, and get them on. And you know, go to the slave cylinder. It won't be bad to do it all, and I think this is going to work out a lot better than if we, you know, trying to run everything underneath the floor. And and the Ford, I'm waiting on some parts for it, but we are going to get it over here and go ahead and do the drive shaft and the cross member, and probably find a shifter to put in it and a few other little things. So we'll be doing that within the next, you know, few days. So till next time, appreciate everybody watching, and be good. Bye.